Right now, your body might be fighting a cancer that won't show a single symptom until it's almost too late. Colon cancer is one of the most survivable cancers on the planet if you catch it early. The 5-year survival rate for localized colon cancer is 91%. But miss the early signs and that number crashes to 13%. The difference between life and death isn't treatment, it's timing. And here's what makes this even more alarming. Colon cancer is no longer an old person's disease. According to the National Cancer Institute, it's now the #1 cause of cancer death in people between the ages of 20 and 49. Cases in people under 55 have doubled in just a few decades. Your colon has been sending warning signals long before any diagnosis. Most people just never learn to recognize them. Today, we're breaking down 8 warning signs your colon may be in serious trouble. Some will surprise you, like how a simple change in your bathroom habits could be the first red flag, or how feeling tired all the time might mean you're bleeding internally without knowing it. But the last sign is the most dangerous of all because you won't feel it at all. Stick around until the end and you'll understand why screening is the one thing that could save your life before this cancer gets a chance to spread. Now this video is purely educational. It's not a diagnosis and it's not a substitute for professional medical advice. But understanding these signals could be the reason you or someone you love gets checked in time. Sign 8. When your bathroom habits suddenly change. Your bowel habits are like a fingerprint. They're unique to you and they stay remarkably consistent over time. So, when that pattern suddenly shifts, whether it's persistent constipation, frequent loose stools, or diarrhea that won't quit, your body is trying to tell you something. Imagine this. You've eaten the same foods you always eat. Nothing in your routine has changed. But for the past 3 weeks, everything about your bathroom schedule feels different. That's the kind of shift you need to pay attention to. A week or two of irregular bowel movements can be perfectly normal. But when it drags on longer than that, it may point to something deeper. Here's what's actually happening. Your colon absorbs water and shapes your stool. When a tumor grows inside it, that whole process breaks down. If the growth irritates the bowel lining, it forces things through faster, causing diarrhea. If the tumor physically blocks the passage, everything slows down, and that's the constipation. And if you're getting both alternating back and forth, research suggests that may be a growth intermittently blocking the colon. Your gut runs on rhythm. When that rhythm breaks for weeks, don't ignore it. And that leads us to a sign most people would never connect to their colon. Sign 7. Losing weight for no reason. You haven't changed your diet. You haven't started working out. But the weight keeps dropping. Most people would celebrate that. But unexplained weight loss is actually one of the earliest and most overlooked warnings of colon cancer. Here's the mechanism. A tumor in the colon disrupts how your intestine absorbs nutrients. Your body stops getting what it needs from food, but it goes deeper. Many cancers, including colon cancer, release substances called cytokines that hijack your body's signaling system. They redirect nutrients away from your muscles, your organs, your energy, and funnel everything into feeding the tumor instead. Your body isn't losing weight on its own. Something is stealing from it. Research from the National Institutes of Health indicates that losing more than 5% of body weight over 6 to 12 months without trying should always be evaluated. That's not your metabolism getting faster. That could be your body sounding an alarm. Now, the next sign is one that most people see with their own eyes and still manage to ignore. Sign 6. Blood where it shouldn't be. Blood in your stool is one of the hallmark warnings of colon cancer. And yet, the majority of people who notice it never get checked. Here's why. The most common cause of blood in the stool is hemorrhoids, not cancer. So people see it, assume it's harmless, and move on. That assumption can be deadly. Research from the American Cancer Society emphasizes that any visible blood, whether in the toilet on the paper or mixed into the stool, needs professional evaluation. A tumor inside the colon can erode into blood vessels along the intestinal wall, causing bleeding from occasional spotting to persistent traces. Don't diagnose yourself on this one. The cost of being wrong is simply too high. But here's the thing. Not all bleeding looks like blood, and that's what makes the next sign so easy to miss. Sign 5. When bleeding hides in plain sight. Sometimes there's no red at all. Instead, your stool turns dark tar-like, almost black. Most people wouldn't think twice about it, but that dark color is blood in disguise. Here's why. When bleeding starts higher up in the digestive system or from the right side of the colon, the blood travels a long distance through your gut. Along the way, digestive enzymes and stomach acid break it down, turning it from red to black. A study in the journal Gastroenterology confirms that persistent dark stools should always be investigated. The source is the same, the warning is the same, it's just wearing a different mask. And sometimes the bleeding is so slow that it won't change the color of your stool at all. That's when the next sign becomes the only clue your body has left. Sign 4. The exhaustion that won't go away. You sleep enough, you eat enough, but you're constantly drained. Short of breath climbing stairs, skin paler than usual. Most people blame stress or a busy schedule. But what if the real cause is blood loss you can't even see? When a tumor in the colon bleeds at a very low level, too little to show up in your stool, it slowly drains your body's iron reserves over weeks and months. Iron is what builds hemoglobin, the molecule that carries oxygen through your blood. Without enough iron, your organs starve for oxygen. That's iron deficiency anemia. And research from the British Journal of Haematology shows that unexplained iron deficiency, especially in men and postmenopausal women, should always trigger a screening for colon cancer. Your body isn't just tired, it may be quietly losing blood from the inside drop by drop. This next sign tricks thousands of people every day because it feels like something completely ordinary. Sign 3. The feeling that you're never done. You go to the bathroom, you finish. But your body doesn't agree. There's a constant feeling that something is still there, an urge to go again that never fully resolves. The medical term is tenesmus. And here's what causes it. When a tumor grows in the lower colon or rectum, it presses against the bowel wall and tricks your body into thinking stool is still sitting inside even when there's nothing left to pass. A study in colorectal disease found that persistent tenesmus is a significant indicator that should be investigated for colorectal cancer. Most people assume it's irritable bowel syndrome, but here's the difference. IBS symptoms come and go with stress and diet. If this feeling persists for weeks, no matter what you eat or how you feel, especially combined with other signs on this list, it's not just discomfort. It's a signal pointing directly at where the problem might be. And the next sign is one that almost everyone brushes off without a second thought. Sign 2. Bloating that nothing can fix. Feeling bloated after a big meal is completely normal. But when the bloating and gas persist day after day with no change in what you're eating, that's something else entirely. Here's the mechanism. When a tumor grows large enough, it partially blocks the colon. Gas builds up behind that blockage, creating constant pressure and discomfort that won't go away. But it doesn't stop there. Research published in Gut, one of the world's leading gastroenterology journals, found that tumors in the colon can disrupt the balance of gut bacteria. When that balance breaks, bacteria ferment undigested food far longer than normal, producing even more gas. The blockage traps it. The bacteria multiply it. And you're left with bloating that no diet change and no home remedy can fix. If it lasts longer than a few weeks, it needs to be checked. Now here's the part nobody sees coming, and it might be the most important thing in this entire video. Sign 1. No sign at all. The most common early sign of colon cancer is silence, complete silence. That's not a metaphor. Colon cancer can grow inside your body for years without causing a single symptom. Most cases begin as small benign polyps. They don't hurt, they don't bleed, they don't announce themselves. But some quietly turn cancerous. And by the time you feel anything, the cancer may already be advanced and far harder to treat. That is the cruel truth about this disease. 91% survival if you catch it early, 13% if you don't. This is why screening is not optional. It's the most powerful weapon you have. Current guidelines recommend starting at age 45 for average risk individuals. But if you have a family history of colon cancer or conditions like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, you may need to start much earlier in some cases, as young as 25. A colonoscopy lets your doctor examine the colon directly and remove precancerous growths before they become dangerous. And if that feels like too much, stool-based home tests can detect hidden blood or DNA changes linked to early tumors. The method matters less than the decision. Get screened. The cancer you find before it speaks is the cancer you survive. Your colon doesn't scream for help, it whispers. And by the time those whispers get loud enough to hear you, may already be running out of time. If any of these signs sound familiar, don't wait. Talk to your doctor. Awareness gets you to the door, but only a professional can tell you what's on the other side. Share this with someone you love before they learn the hard way. One conversation today could save them years of regret. Hit the like button so this reaches the people who need it most. And subscribe because this is just one signal your body is sending. There are many more we haven't covered yet, and some of them will completely change how you think about your own health. Stay tuned.